So those are some of the sounds from outside South Korea's parliamentary building right now. Just hours ago, South Korea's president Yoon Yeol declared emergency martial law. He said the move is necessary to protect the country from what he calls the threat of pro-North Korean forces. Now, the president also accused the country's opposition of sympathizing with North Korea and paralyzing the government with anti-state activities. In response, opposition leader Lee Jae-myung has slammed the decision. He's calling for an emergency meeting with lawmakers. We can see there's just a scene of disarray right now outside those parliament buildings as opposition politicians are inside or trying to get inside to vote to overturn the martial law decree. We're watching those pictures on CNN at the moment. Now, for more on this, we're joined by Vina Nadjibulla. She is the Vice President of Research and Strategy with the Asia Pacific Foundation Canada, and she is here in Vancouver. Good morning to you, Vina.
Good morning, Stephen.
This comes as very surprising news to many of us. Can you bring us up to speed on just how this happened, how we got to where we are this morning?
Absolutely, Stephen. This is surprising would be an understatement. This is a shocking development. South Korea has been a democratic state for many, many years, and there has been nothing like this since the 80s when Korea was last ruled by martial law. So when the President Yoon, made a late night live television address and declared an emergency martial law, I think it was shocking. Now, it's important to note that he did not cite an immediate military threat from North Korea, and that's important given the context. Rather, he referred to domestic issues, as you noted, the anti-state elements in the party and the fact that Parliament or the National Assembly has been taken hostage by the opposition and there's a gridlock. So, but as you noted, the National Assembly can, in fact, vote to overrule the measure. Mm-hmm. And we are hearing that they have done so, that about 190 lawmakers were able to enter Parliament, despite some of the barricades that had been set up, and that they have unanimously, so everybody who was in Parliament and able to vote, 190 of them voted against the measure, which we'll be seeing now what that means, because, of course, if the president refuses to abide by that, then we're in a whole other uncharted territory. But for the moment, it looks like the measure has lasted less than 3 hours if one is to go by what the parliament has done.
Well, right inside the building right now, as I said, a scene of disarray, and it looks as though police in riot gear are outside the building. We're seeing smashed windows as well. So yes. Clearly it's quite a scene. So President Yoon says, though, that this decision is critical to defend the country's constitutional order. He has vowed to eradicate what he calls pro-North Korean forces. What do you make of this justification to try to declare martial law?
Yeah, so the president, obviously, as you said, has stated those reasons. A lot of political analysts inside Korea and outside are obviously seeing this much more connected to political divisions. South Korea, like many other democracies, is currently deeply divided. Parliament is controlled by the opposition. The president's popularity is really, really low. A last poll showed him that he's got approval ratings of about 25%, and it's going down. His wife is embroiled in scandals around corruption, and the opposition had been saying that they will bring measures to have a special investigation into her activities. They've also tabled measures to impeach some top prosecutors. And in the last few days, there had been a lot of discussions, very difficult discussions in Parliament on the budget that President Yoon had put forward. And so there's a really difficult gridlock within the opposition. And that's really what's motivating this measure. But it is an extraordinary measure. One have to say that even the president's own party, People's Power Party leader, had said that he didn't support this measure. It seems to have surprised even his own party members. Again, a really, really shocking move. Of course, South Korea is a key ally for the U.S. as well as Canada in the region. It's a key democracy in the region. So to see this development is really quite shocking.
So is this then a desperate attempt to hold on to power? I mean, regardless of whether, power is going to be transferred, democratically or otherwise?
I mean, it seems so. I mean, in terms of like what we know in the last few hours, we'll see what happens later on today and as the day starts in Korea to see what president's next move is going to be. Because as we just said, Parliament has overruled this declaration. His own party members seem to be against it as well. Although obviously the army can block Parliament from functioning. We've seen early signs that some media sites have also been blocked, and that's obviously something else that's within the martial law powers. So it's still a developing story, a really surprising one with ramifications both for Korea's economy as well as its international standing.
Um, just to recap things, I mean, when we're talking about martial law, exactly what does that mean in Korea? Is it what we all think of as martial law?
Yeah, so it hasn't happened since Korea became fully democratic in the 80s. In the past, Korea has obviously an authoritarian past. It has been ruled by military dictatorships as well. And that is the last time that there had been martial law in the country. So older Koreans would understand what this means, but the younger generation has never experienced this. Korea is a fully functional liberal democracy,
Hmm.
or has been until this morning. So, and the president in his late night address did not specify exactly what this means. In fact, he said that it would impact daily life of Koreans, but of course, within the martial law, there are powers. Military essentially takes control of parliament and party activities. Party activities are banned. There's some implications for media as well and freedom of
Yeah.
speech. I should note that in the last few weeks, every Saturday, there had been protests calling for the president's impeachment. So potentially, obviously, that would not be possible as well in this context. But again, we'll need to see whether or not this actually holds and what the next move by the president will be.
And right now, it's being reported that the Biden administration is in close contact with Korea, that it's monitoring the situation closely. How do you see this playing out internationally?
Yeah, so we should note that there are about 28,000 US troops stationed in Korea. This is part of obviously the Korean Peninsula and protecting Korea from DPRK, from the North
Hmm.
Korean threat. In the President Yoon has obviously, like I said, has had a lot of domestic issues, but internationally, he has made a number of moves that have been really welcomed by the US. For instance, he's deepened relations with Japan, which is historic, at a Camp David summit a couple of years ago. He's also declared Korea a pivotal global state, so has been much more active regionally in dealing with threats of both North Korea, but also China. And Korea is a key ally of the US in the region. And Korea is a major partner for Canada in our Indo Pacific engagement. Just less than a month ago, we saw a meeting between the defense and foreign
Hmm.
ministers of Korea and our defense and foreign ministers in Ottawa. So this is a major development, one that we will have to watch. We also, of course, have close economic and trading
Yes.
relations with Korea, lots of investments. I mean, this is an unfolding story with a lot of
Mm.
ramifications.
Vina, really appreciate your time this morning. Thank you so much for taking the time with us.
Thank you.
Take care. That is Vina Nadjibulla. She is the Vice President of Research and Strategy with the Asia Pacific Foundation of Canada.